Hello, I'm here with a new video. This time I would like to review the Officio Assassinorum Dataslate. In this dataslate, they will give us the profile of the four assassins, famous assassins or cult assassins that are the Vindicare, the Callidus, Eversor, and Callidus, and how to add them into any imperial army. As it is common in the different dataslate and codex from Games Workshop, the dataslate start with some fluff and some background about the different assassins and the different type of assassin temples in the Imperium. So first you will have all this fluff and also a little bit of chronology about the Officio Assassinorum. And then it will start review the rules to use them in your games. So it follows all the rules, all typical rules of the dataslates, and this dataslate is allied to the Imperium, so can be used as allied for any Imperium army. The composition is just one elite that is compulsory, so the composition of this detachment is just a single assassin, and it have the rule Operation Assassinate. So if the mission you're playing have victory points, you will receive an additional victory point if the lord or the warlord enemy is killed by a wound caused by assassin. And then the dataslate starts with a formation as well that is composed of one Callidus assassin, one Callidus assassin, one Eversor assassin, and one Vindicare assassin. So you can put them as a one formation in your games. They have preferred enemy, the warlord of your enemy, and have also Operation Assassinate. So you will have an additional victory point if any of them are killing the opponent warlord. Which has to take into account that if we add the sum of all these assassins is about 480 points, if I'm not wrong. So it's quite expensive formation for 4 assassins. And of course, then we have the explanation of each type of assassin. And I will start with the Vindicare. So the Vindicare, all the assassins have the same profile. Weapon skill 8, ballistic skill 8, strength and toughness 4, 3 wounds, initiative 7, 4 attacks, and leadership 10. So it's the same as before, with the difference that now they have 3 wounds instead of 2. Of course, the unit is composed of only one assassin, and in this case is only the Vindicare assassin. And the Vindicare is equipped with blind grenades and a close combat weapon. He have the special rules: fearless, infiltrate, move through cover, stealth, and then have the special rule death shot. So all successful to hit rolls made by Vindicare, except snapshots, have precision rule. They all of them have independent operative, so this means that they cannot join any unit. So they cannot join any unit. They have to be always alone. And they have lightning reflexes. It will be common in all the assassins as well. So they have 4+ invulnerable save, and then they have all the assassins have no escape. So you give a -2 to lookout cert rule. So if you are shooting to, for example, an enemy with the independent character special rule, instead of having lookout cert on 2+, it will be on 4+, and then for a sergeant it will need a 6 to save from a shooting of the Vindicare. It means that is more precise than other type of units. Also, the Vindicare is equipped with the Exitus rifle and the Exitus pistol. The Exitus rifle is 72 inches and is a sniper weapon that is heavy 1 AP2 and have the Exitus ammo. And the pistol is 12 inches and also is a sniper and have Exitus ammo. Then Exitus ammo, you can select 3 different type of ammo. One is ignoring invulnerable saves, so you can imagine AP2 and ignoring invulnerable save normally means that you are going to wound anybody. Then they have the Turbo Penetrator, that is strengthened against vehicles and is causing D3 wounds to any unit, to any if it's an infantry unit. And then they have the Hellfire, that is a shot that is wounding on 2+. So I think the munition is not as good as before, but it's quite interesting. Also, it has the Spy Mask, so all successful to hit rolls made by Vindicare, excluding snapshots. Have ignore cover special rule. So if you're shooting with the weapon, with AP2, ignores cover and ignores invulnerable save, so there is no way that the opponent can save from that. Of course, you will need 4+ to wound, and it's a sniper, so it's rending on 6s. So this is a sniper assassin to be hide under cover. With the stealth, it will have 3+ cover save and 4+ invulnerable save. But we have to be careful with assassins. They only have 3 wounds, so they are quite easy to kill under saturation of fire. So I recommend to put him in a position that the returning fire is not so high and is shooting to important targets of the enemy. Try to shoot important targets from the first turn, because I don't think it's going to last more than 2 or 3 turns if your enemy wants to kill or to bring it down. So it's quite good. We have to think that the costing points is 150 points for this unit. Then we have the Callidus. Callidus is specialized in close combat and also in short range shooting. Let's go to the rules. So the profile is the same as the Vindicare, but it has some more special rules. It has Fearless as before, Fleet Infiltrate, Hit and Run, Move through cover, and Precision Strikes. It's an independent operative as the Vindicare, have Lightning Reflex as the Vindicare, have No Escape as the Vindicare, and then they have the Polymorphism. So Polymorphism, what it's doing now, and it has changed quite a lot from previous edition, is when a Callidus is deployed using her Infiltrate special rule, she can be set up anywhere on the table that is 1 inch away from the enemy and can be even in line of sight. The assassin also can start in reserve, and she can choose to move from the enemy board edge when she arrives. In either case, during the first game turn or during the game turn in which the Callidus assassin arrives from reserve, enemy units can only fire snapshots when targeting her. It looks very awesome, but we have to be careful. If you appear in front of 20 Marines, they can bring her down. So it's toughness 4, they will need snapshots, but all the saturation fire, they have the opportunity to bring her down. So you have to be careful. Also, if they are lucky with a weapon of strength 8 or superior, she will die. Then they have the Reign of Confusion rule. If your army includes Callidus Assassin, you can reroll the dice when attempting to seize the initiative. In addition, your opponent suffers -3 to the first reserve roll he makes during the game. So at least you're going to delay one of the reserve, or almost guaranteed that you're going to delay one reserve from your enemy. So, but the enemy can choose in which order, so normally it will decide which one he wants to delay. Then it's also kept with some strange weapons. He has the Neural Shredder. It's a template weapon, a strength 1 AP2 pistol, and is neural shock, and means that this weapon is wounding on 4+. So it's wounding on 4+ AP2, and it's template, so ignores cover. So it's quite a dreadful weapon. Then have the Face Sword. Face Sword is a strength of the user, AP2 melee and phasing hits. And phasing hits when it's rolling a 6 in a result of 6 when they roll into wound. It ignores also invulnerable saves. So if you throw a 6, is a guaranteed wound to your enemy. And finally, it has Poison Blades. So in case you are fighting an enemy with very high toughness, you have Poison Blades, and they are poison 3+, rending, melee, and is the strength of the user, but it doesn't matter because it's poison 3+. So it's quite deadly in close combat, and also can completely disseminate an enemy unit sorry, when shooting the neural shredder. I recommend her to infiltrate in one of the flanks of the enemy where the enemy cannot focus a lot of fire on her during the first turn. So then you appear, you can use the neural shredder, and you can cause big damage to your enemy. So it's quite deadly, and I don't think your enemy will allow her to live for a long time. So try to target or try to cause a lot of confusion in one of the flanks of your enemy. Don't try to put her in the middle of the enemy front, because then the enemy will have all the tools and all the weapons to bring her down. If you are considering bring her from the reserve, is also a good option, and will be a good option to do damage on these apocalypses that are in reserve or are at the back of the battlefield, also to bring down these devastators. So it's quite, I think it's again a very good option as assassin, and I think I will start using her again on my games. So, but we have to be careful again. It's not resisting, it's assassin, it's just an independent character that cannot join any unit and have 3 wounds at toughness 4. Next one is the Eversor. This is another assassin that is quite good in close combat and also in short range shooting. So Eversor have a power sword and melta bombs, is fearless, feel no pain, infiltrate, furious charge, and move through cover. Have the bio meltdown, so when if Eversor is ever reduced to 0 wounds before removing the model as a casualty, each nervy unit, friend or foe, suffers a strength 5 AP nothing hit for each model it has within d6 inches of the Eversor. So it's doing explosion of d6 inches of radius. This one is dying. So you can put in this guy if is surrounded and is exploding, can cause some damage. Then we have the fast shot. So whenever Eversor assassin fires his executioner pistol, he does so 4 times. All these shots must be at the same target, but can be any mixture of bolt and needle shots. So he is shooting 4 times the pistols. Then is independent comparative and have also lightning reflexes, and have the special rule no escape. These are common in all the assassins. Then the executioner pistol is a combi pistol that have needle pistol, that is a strength 1 pistol poisoned, so it's wounding in 4+, and have not AP. And then you have a ball pistol that is a standard ball pistol. It also have friendzone. An Eversor assassin rolls 3d6 when determining his charge range, adding the results together. In addition, an Eversor assassin receives 3 bonus attacks in a turn in which he charges rather than just 1. So it's quite, for me, I see more Eversor to kill units in close combat, because the moment he assaults, he have 4 attacks plus 3, will have 7 attacks at skill 8, so most likely hitting on 3s. And with the strength 4 and power weapon, normally even marines will be wounded on 4+. So it can be quite dangerous in close combat. It also have the Neuro Gauntlet. Neuro Gauntlet is a close combat weapon that has flesh bend and is red, but have not AP. So if you are fighting, for example, Imperial Guard that have very low armor, maybe it's more useful to use the Neuro Gauntlet. If you're fighting demons, for example, Neuro Gauntlet is going to be better than the power sword because it's flesh bend and it's red. So you're wounding on 2+ and repeating to wound, so it's almost likely that you're going to wound. Also have the Sentinel Array, so an Eversor assassin fires Overwatch using his full ballistic skill. So it's quite a skilled assassin, is not super specialized, is a little bit of everything, but short range. So pistols is range 12 inches, and then is in close combat where it's good. But it's very fast because assault in 3d6 makes him quite fast. I'm not sure if he has infiltrate. Yeah, I also have infiltrate, so you can start deploying quite close to the enemy. Remember that if you infiltrate and you have the first turn, you cannot assault. But if you go second, you can assault anyway. And have the ability to move through cover. So it's quite a good option if you want to engage also enemy units in close combat. And the last one is the Culexus. Culexus is the assassin specialized in killing psychers, but it doesn't mean that it's not dreadful against other units. So let's check his profile. So it's the same profile as the others, and as like the other cases have independent operative, life drain, and no escape. It also have fear, fearless infiltrate, move through cover, and preferred enemy, psychers. So his preferred enemies are psychers. He's a secret abomination, so it means that at 12 inches from him, any psyker will not generate warp charges. Okay, and he cannot be target of any psychic power, and on top of that, any psychic power that have area of effect and is impacting him will be ignored when impacting him. He will impact as normal other units, but he will not be damaged. For example, if a nova is being launched by a psyker that is next to him, he will not be affected by the power of nova. All the other around him will be affected, but he will not be affected on that. He also have the life drain special rule. It means that in close combat you cannot take armor save against Culexus, and if rolling a 6 when wounding, it will cause instant death, and it's always causing instant death to psychers. So Culexus is a super good assassin if you want to kill a warlord that is psyker. It's also equipped with the Animus Speculum, and the Animus Speculum is a weapon that is range 18, is strength 5, AP 1, is assault X, and can absorb warp charge. This weapon is shoot during the psychic phase, and is not preventing him from shooting other weapons, although he doesn't have any other weapon apart of the psychic grenades. And then assault X means that he have one warp charge for each, or one shot for each psychic level that is around 12 inches from him. Plus, you can add 3 warp charges to add 3 shooting from your warp charge pool. What that means? For example, if the next to the Culexus there is a psyker of level mastery 2, he will have 2 warp charge from this psyker, plus you can add 3 from your pool, so he can shoot 5 shots, strength 5, AP 1. So it's quite dangerous if it's fighting against psychers, because you neutralize the enemy psychers, and on top of that you use his mastery level to shoot to them. It also has the Therium special rule that means that any enemy that is fighting with him or shooting to him is doing it at ballistic skill 1 or weapon skill 1. So in close combat, all the enemies have only weapon skill 1, what will make most of them only to hit on 5s. And then in shooting, all the enemies will have ballistic skill 1, so you need 6s to hit at him. And it's also equipped with psychic grenades. Psychic grenades are strength 2 grenades with blast if you're shooting them, or they can use also in the assault phase if the enemy is a psyker. And what is causing is, if there is a psyker and the target of the psychic grenade, immediately it will have a peril from the warp. So it can be very dangerous. Imagine that there is a psyker in the middle of the enemy, you throw that, so you can cause quite a big damage if it have one of the bad perils from the warp. So it's very specialized. I think the points wise is 140, so it's not that expensive, and I think it's good. Again, I think this is the most survival of them all, because they need 6s to shoot at you, but it's still toughness for 4+ save and 3 wounds. So it's not invincible, and it's better that you planify well how to use him, not to be shut down before he's able to deploy all the damage. And these are all the units on this data slate. So we have the Vindicare 150 points, Callidus 145 points, Eversor 135 points, and Callidus 140 points. If you want to use them, I think they can give a good punch to your army, but you have to be very selective how you use them. They can resist quite a lot, but they are not invincible. So 3 wounds is good, the 4+ invulnerable save is good, but if you put them very exposed, they will your enemy will be able to kill. And he cannot use other units as a protection, as you will use, for example, with your with any independent character. For example, Inquisitor can go inside of a unit, or even the Chapter Master can go inside of a unit. They cannot go inside of a unit, so they will be exposed. So you have to use the terrain to hide them, and then strike when you think that they have all the advantage to do the damage. I will consider them as a suicide mission, especially if you are talking about the Callidus, Colexus, and Eversor, where they have to go into close combat to do the maximum damage. The Vindicare is more to put him hidden in one of you, out of the range of the main of most of the enemy weapons, and trying to use his shooting ability to kill the main targets. You can use the Vindicare, for example, to bring down heavy weapons from your enemy or characters, or even to do damage on the Warlord. The other ones are more specialized in close combat. Try to attack isolated units with them. If they can attack an isolated unit, most likely they will kill this unit. Remember, when you come from reserve with the Callidus, you cannot assault. So, but in the other, also we have to take into account that the enemy will only be able to do snap shooting the turn that she's coming from reserve. If you infiltrate, it's the same if you have the first turn. You cannot assault. But overall, they are disruptive units. They are, except the Vindicare, that is more to choice targets and to bring them down. We have to take into account the munition maybe is not as good as used to be before. Before we were able to break, not also to penetrate, but also to break this invulnerable save. Now it's just ignoring it. Also, the anti-vehicle now is strength 10. In the past used to be 46 to penetrate. So it's not as strong as before, but it's still quite a good choice to do damage. And especially, I will think more to kill key assets from your enemy, heavy weapons or something like that. They don't have lookout share. But because if you're shooting to a character that has 3 wounds, you will need about 3 turns to bring this character down. Even if you shoot the one with the multiple wound, because then you are not ignoring the invulnerable save, and most of the characters have invulnerable save or lookout share of 4+, even with the -2 from the Vindicare. So, and that's all what I want to share. So they are mainly disruptive units in the 3 of them, and the other one is to kill selected assets from your enemy. Take into account that you are investing between 135 points and 150 points for this ability in your army. So that is concluding my review on this Dataslate. I think it's quite interesting for Imperial armies. I don't think it's super competitive, but it's giving a lot of fluff, and you can add this in your Imperial Guard or in your Marines. No, you can add in any Imperial army. So please leave your comments, opinions, what you think. You will use assassins. Do you like assassins? Yes? No? And that's all. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you again later. Bye!